Without being able to look anyone in the eyes, you say, "Mercy!" A painful smack on the back of the head is all you get as a response. Shut up and keep walking. Oh, we're gonna be sacrificed to the old gods. Great! Hello everyone, I'm Echo, and welcome back to the Innsmouth Case. We're picking up where we left off in the town square, and I'm quite excited to get back into it, so let's go ahead and hurry up and get a move on. Innsmouth Town Square, the beating heart of the city, a big attraction for local tourism, it is animated by groups of visitors who are chatting away in the sun. A lot less animated are the lethargic locals who are looking about the square. A rather creepy looking fountain is in the middle of the square. The water sprays into the air, providing a refreshing breeze to tourists sitting around the edge of the fountain. Looking at it closely now, it all rather looks like a gigantic drooling fish monster. The square is surrounded by handsome old buildings, although the side streets reveal the true Innsmouth, crumbling facades just far enough away that the average tourist doesn't notice them immediately. You also notice the mean grimace of gargoyles sternly looking down onto the visitors from the corners of their buildings. Make a mental note to block out the Innsmouth archive in future. At first glance, you can see the town hall and a police station behind the fountain. There should be a few more public facilities nearby, but you don't notice anything right away. Let's start with the fountain. Pretty relaxed vibe here, so you decide to go over to tourists. There's a lot of space on the edge of the fountain, which people use to sit down. They are stretching their legs, eating their packed lunches, or studying maps of the town. The perfect place to let go and relax. Let's not relax too much. Don't want a knife in the back. You sit down close to tourists. Finally, some normal people compared to the gray, sometimes even sinister-looking residents. This isolated tourist group stands out like a beacon of light in the darkness. Some of the Innsmouth residents shamble around the middle of the square, some lurk indecisively in the shadows of the narrow alleys. Again and again they cast stealthy glances at the tourists, and at you. Ooh, that's not good. Trying to take shelter from the ominous glances, you rush over to the lively tourists. You sit yourself down next to a family who has an animated chat and are taking lots of pictures. They're eating their lunch from Tupperware and unwrapped snacks from aluminum foil. At once you feel a little more secure. The family is spread out around the fountain. The young son in the nerdy t-shirt is wedged worryingly tight between mother and father on the edge of the basin. The daughter is probably going through some critical phase of puberty. She sits visibly discontent on the brick floor as if nobody in history of mankind has ever suffered as much as she has right now, this very moment. Interesting. One seems to notice you. They're eating fucking snacks and seem like a suburban family that would get murdered by Jason Voorhees. They're probably not going to help this investigation. We can watch, but we're not going to glean any useful information from them. I'm doubtful they'd pay attention to anything that would seem out of the ordinary. So, let's keep watching, just to see if we notice anything that would entice us to talk with them. If you didn't know better, you'd think that the family was trapped in some sort of time loop. The parents keep eating food, the kids complain and are then mollified. I have never heard of that word before, mollified. I can't imagine what that means. Over and over again, by coincidence, you look towards one of the dark alleys. You notice a pale man whose stature reminds you of a chameleon rather than a human. From his hiding place, he looks directly at the family. Cold sweat has started forming on your forehead. Ooh, the creepy figure is completely focused on the tourist family. Ooh. We know people have gone missing in this town, and we know there's been deaths around these areas. Fountain included. We may just found our first cult member. Let's go see if we can knock some sense into him and get some answers. Focus on not making any rapid movements. You get up from the edge of the fountain. You pretend to take a relaxing jaunt over the square. You're pretty certain that the pale figure is still observing the family from the same place, but you avoid looking over until you're out of their line of sight. The man is hiding in a small side street. Ooh, from behind. Take the man from behind. Oh, this may have been a bad idea. In order to surprise the gawker from behind, you first need to walk around a dilapidated building. Just like the other buildings here, it is right on the small side street that is being used for trash cans only. This is where the man is lying in wait. I'm sorry, are we facing a boss? It looks like a zombie. That looks like a mer person. That's not a human. At all. I can see how you would think it is one from a distance, but that's not a human. You move through the alley as quick as you can, as carefully as you can. You start walking briskly, but without actually running. The trash is clogging up the alley and makes it difficult for you to keep moving. Innsmouth doesn't seem to have a system to recycle glass bottles. You can see them everywhere, sticking out of trash cans, but most of the people simply seem to be leaving them on the ground. Like little landmines, some of them lie in the middle of the pavement just waiting for someone to step on them loudly. Good thing you weren't running, it would have been impossible to avoid noise. When you step into the alley, the man is still hiding in the shadows. He leans onto the wall and watches the bustle around on the town square. A bald man, pussier head and bony arms is all you can make out from where you are. Time to think of a strategy. He's not human, hit him! Silently, you approach the eerie figure until you stand right behind him. I mean, as well, he's also stalking a family, for Christ's sakes, and if they seem to be in a time loop, I'd say he's probably got them under some kind of spell to keep them there until the time is right for him to be able to take them. Silently, you approach the eerie figure until you stand right behind him, and indeed, the man did not notice you approach. You raise your fists and give the man a solid whack on the back of the head. Your knuckles land on slimy skin. He's out cold. Yeah, that is not a human. You look around. I got an achievement for that! Not on my watch. Overpower the gopper. I did something good, apparently. You look around you. Nice. No one seems to have noticed anything. What do you want to do with this unconscious person in front of you? Search his clothes first. You can't wait until he's awake again, so the police can interview him. You're a pragmatic man. The man is wearing a woolen jacket, but in its pockets you only find a button that has been torn off from the collar. Ooh, look through the wallet. Oh shit, I didn't read the top part. $30 and an ID, not even a credit card. Is there still a barter system in Innsmouth? Maybe. According to the ID, the man is someone called Isaac Manson, but the photo must have been taken from before he got hooked on heroin. His cheeks are rounder, his hair fuller, and there's even a hopeful hint of a smile. Hard to believe, the haggard person on the floor in front of you looks like a bad caricature of the person in front of you. Caricature of the person in front of you in the photo. You lift his lifeless body in front of you, take the keys and wallet with you. Sure. The keys are added to the hodgepodge already in your coat pockets, right? Because fucking hotel keys and van keys, I think. The wallet is now also yours, at least for as long as you've handed Mr. Manson over to the authorities, or you need $30. And the man's still laying on the ground in front of you. Let's not beat him more than we already have. Let's just deliver him to the police. His belongings weren't necessarily useful. It's now time to let the police do their job. You put everything back in the man's pockets as not to give off the wrong impression. It's not going to be easy to explain why this creep is unconscious, but it was for a worthy cause. The haggard man is so light, just as if he weren't actually human, but a window mannequin filled with foam. You put his arm around your shoulder and lift him up. It looks as if you're helping one of your drunken buddies to get home. The sun blinds you when you step out of the shadow into town square. You cross the square and approach a police station. In the meantime, your still unconscious victim has lost one of his shoes because his feet are dragging across the pavement. Finally, you haul yourself against the heavy door and into the police station. I mean, we can't, we are a private investigators. I'm pretty sure to a certain degree, private investigators are some form of law enforcement that can step in situations like that. So I'm pretty sure it should be easy enough for us to explain why he's unconscious. He was fucking staring with some malice intent. And that's the end of that chapter. Oh crap, we're gonna get arrested, aren't we? You enter the precinct. Finally, you can deliver the unconscious culprit and maybe the police can find out what the hell he was up to. You're in a small foyer and a counter separates visitors from the actual officers of the police officers on duty. From the actual office of the police officers on duty. It's standard practice, observed even in a cranky little town like Innsmouth. A chilly, not particularly inviting old building with only a single narrow window on the wall. Presumably, not even the architects expected this measly window to brighten up the foyer, so they added a few electrical lamps to the wall. The room is bathed in soft light, but rather than warming glow, it's much like warm sick. Wallpaper is about to come loose from the walls, probably a process that has been ongoing for years. The exciting finale of which you can witness today. Almost every one of the poisonous green tiles on the floor have cracked or other small damage. In other words, your average public service building. The police station gives out the same lethargic vibes that you come to expect from Innsmouth by now, but who knows, maybe they can help you anyway. A police van is on reception desk duty. He jumps out of his chair and his gaze moves from the unconscious man to you. What the? God fucking damn it, it looks like he's a fish person as well. Is everyone in this town a fish person? Explain yourself, throw him down, or run off. Explain yourself. I mean, we had reason enough, and we are a detective. This man was eyeing tourists in a suspicious way. You start, but realize that this doesn't even begin to explain why the man is unconscious or why his face is bruised all over. The cop slowly gets out of his squeaky chair. I tried to get him to explain himself, but you try helpfully. The cop hand briefly disappears under the counter. Are we gonna get shot? Fucking Christ! Finish your explanation. Dropping the man would be way too suspicious and probably get us killed. Unfortunately, he forced me to resort to some rather extreme measures. The door to the back office opens and half a dozen cops enter the room, all carrying some pretty big batons. The cop sits back down on his squeaky chair. Arrest that one. Which one? God damn it. You know, when we walked in here and I said we're probably gonna get arrested, I was hoping that wouldn't be the case. We should have run. Why did I go for the logical solution? Logic doesn't work. You just run. Your head is pounding and you feel numb and lethargic. That's like the third or fourth time they've used that freaking word. Jesus. You fade in and out of consciousness. Memories visit you, pleasant ones that hail from better times. You return to reality. Reality is not all attractive. When you open your eyes, a flickering source of light blinds you. You carefully stretch your arms and legs, still unaware of where on earth you are. In a jail cell, you twit. Where do you think? Fucking hell, man. Are you dead? No. Your gaze wanders over the metal bars and stone wall, into which those who came before you have carved messages. You're lying in a cell, although the word cell doesn't quite capture it. These are more like cages, which are separated only by thin metal bars. No cot, no toilet. Damn it! They didn't even give you a bucket? Why do I feel like they knew about him? Oh, this isn't good. Someone must have given you a good beating from the scraped cheek. Someone must have given you a good beating from your scraped cheeks and hands. You deduce that you were dragged here afterwards. In the cell to your right is a woman, with her back against the wall. To your left, an unconscious young man with disavowal hair lying face down. It could be the other investigator! Remember? Because we found a bra in the room, which indicated a woman investigator was handling that. That absolutely could be her. Talk to her. Oh, you have to be the other detective. Hey, given the circumstances, no one can expect you to come up with something more creative. She turns towards you with a sigh. Slept well? You rub your cheek. Big mistake. Your head feels like one big bruise. Explain your situation. Who are you? Who are you? You blurt out. The question could have been phrased a bit more elegant, but this is perhaps not the time for formalities. Kate, my pleasure. The woman replies monotonously. I am here for the exact same reason as you, I suppose. She listlessly starts to imitate a falsetto voice. My little girl is missing. I'm so worried. You are the detective! You know what? I was in your room, and honestly, you need to learn to throw some trash out every once in a while, and that takeout food, I can't imagine did good things for your stomach. Though, I'll give you that. I'll give you this. That tub still has clear water in it. It's cold as ice, but it's still clean. An accurate portrayal of Delilah. You give her that. And this, she nods towards the peacefully shambling surfer dude, is Loney, who is on vacation. She laughs softly. Is she meaning the other guy in the cell, which would make sense, or does she mean Loney brought her here? You look towards its other man. You look towards the slumbering man. You cannot believe your eyes, but you definitely recognize the crazy hipster hairstyle. It's Loney, your ride. Small world, you mumble thoughtfully. What's going to happen to us now is on of the many questions in your mind right now. At least it's in the top 3 of all your questions. In addition to, how can a degenerate man from Innsmouth knock you out so easily, and would the telekinetically gifted evil mutant twin in the horror movie from the 80s have become much nicer had his parents not baptized him Bolly but Steve? I'm sorry, what are you on? What are you on? Isn't that a reference to that one movie with the puppet thingies? I can't remember. What the fuck? The woman frowns at you. How the hell should I know? She looks away from you and, as before, stares at the metal door at the end of the room. Then there's a scrambling, rattling sound. The door is being opened, but I guess we're about to find out. Of course. Hard to tell which is worse, the squeaking sound of the rusty hinges or the light flooding the basement room and blinding your eyes. A figure approaches. It takes your eyes a few seconds to adjust, take in who is standing in front of you. It's a cop. He's not alone. The policeman looks down at you with a condescending grin. Then he fumbles with the lock on your cell. From the corner of your eye, you can see that From the corner of your eyes, you can see that more visitors are entering the cell room. They seem less amused by the situation, chewing on their bulging lower lips. They keep an eye on you and the other two. In their hands, they hold burlap bags? Oh shit. I hope I didn't have to keep you waiting for too long, the cop says in a chatty tone. I wouldn't want visitors to get a bad impression of Innsmouth. He opens the cell and grins at you. Oh, this is so bad. I mean, I'm not sure what I expected, but this wasn't it. We're gonna die, aren't we? You're coming with us now. Hopefully she's smart enough to help. Fuck you. If it's 3, no, 4 against 1. Your fellow inmates are still in their cells. You'd have to be pretty stupid to try anything. But you are pretty stupid. I mean, it could have been worse. You wait until Kate's cell is unlocked. The main cop is now focused on her. Your time has come. The already insecure cop next to you doesn't even have time to defend himself. Fueled by the anger of the righteous, you ram your elbow against his forehead and he goes down. Everything is happening very fast now, but not like you planned it. Against your expectation, Kate doesn't join in the fight. Instead, she looks at something behind you with a worried expression. Of course, there were 2 henchmen. Everything goes black. We're getting knocked out a lot this episode, aren't we? It's when the cars race down the 3rd cobblestone road that you stop being able to tell how long you've now been in the car. You also stopped counting the number of bruises you've acquired on this trip. By now, you've also given up on trying to get into an upright position. During the ride, you keep bumping into Kate and the dopey surfer guy. He seems to have woken up from his nap by now, and every pothole the car drives over, he enthusiastically shouts, "Party!" and "woo" from inside his burlap bag. Your personal, eternal, vengeance list has been replaced by a wipe Innsmouth off the face of Earth plan, which seems far more far more doable and pressing. Jesus. The car seems to go on forever. Simply wait, talk to Kate. As you lie there, I mean, yeah, she should have been awake when everything happened, so she may be able to tell us a bit more. As you lie there, bound, and gagged, and hooded in the darkness, it occurs to you that this is a perfect opportunity to get to know the woman next to you better. Your gagged bodies roll back and forth on the shaky ride. You ponder what to say to her. You clear your throat. We're pretty screwed at this point. We're pretty screwed. Do we flirt with her, or do we actually speak with her? So you're also a private investigator. I want to see if we can get out of this situation. So you're also a private investigator. Yep. Kate enunciates the P very clearly. And, did you manage to find the girl? Did you spend the night with Miss Marsh? So no one's going to be, inquiring after you either. You try to sound sympathetic. The woman gets a short, dull laugh. You are a clever one, aren't you? You smile, and that was a natural compliment, wasn't it? Probably not. As you lie there, bound, gagged, and hooded in the darkness, you decide to simply wait it out. What further trials might await you? Suddenly, your weight shifts around, seeming like it's going downhill. Everything feels even bumpier than before until the car comes to a sudden halt. The front doors of the van squeak open, and they are slammed shut again. You can hear voices outside, quite a lot of voices. Some cheerful laughter, too. The door to the back of the van is now being unlocked. People shout, "Go, go, go," and several hands grab your calves and drag you out of the van. Now, there are even more hands tightly clasping your arms and shoulders, and you notice a little alarm. Your hips... unpleasant. Say something. If we're gonna die being a jackass. A good private investigator tries to establish a connection with people, even in the most extreme situations. Without being able to look anyone in the eyes, you say, "Mercy!" A painful smack on the back of the head is all you get as a response. Shut up and keep walking. Oh, we're gonna be sacrificed to the old gods. Great! I really fucked this one, haven't I? This could have gone better. I should have just let the family die, shouldn't I? You decide to retain your dignity and wait. Maybe these gentlemen are more keen to talk to you once they've brought you to wherever they're supposed to deliver you. The stress and responsibility of kidnapping, tying up, and carting innocent tourists off into the night must be weighing heavy on their shoulders. With a jerk, the hood is pulled off your head. They're gonna kill you and sacrifice your blood and soul to the old gods. Do you really think they give a damn? You find yourself on the beach? The sea is rippling in the far distance. It must be a low tide. You and your fellow captives are surrounded by several sinister-looking men. The only thing this pitchfork mob is missing are torches and, well, pitchforks. Their leader steps in front of you and points in the direction you're supposed to walk. In between a jagged rock formation, you can make out a hidden path that seems to be leading into the inside of a rock cave. Goes down quite steep. Watch your step. You don't want to be impaled by stalactites. You don't want to be impaled by stalactites. Stalagmites. Stalagmites, you pipe up. What? Stalactites form in the ceiling of caves and point downwards. So what you're referring to are Something hits you in the back of the head. Dargan doesn't like wise guys. Someone snarls. Oh, please. You were not too far off with the torches. The villagers distribute old-fashioned oil lamps among themselves before you all enter the cave. Your shoes are soaked full of salt water after only a few steps, but you barely notice. The lamps in front of you reveal ever new paths, twists and turns, and after what feels like an eternity, you wonder if by now you had traversed the entirety of Innsmouth underground. Where might they be taking you? Look over your shoulder. Look over your shoulder. When the path ahead seems to be reasonably level, you risk a look over your shoulder. Two of the kidnappers walk directly behind you. Behind them, you can see Kate's face in the flickering light of a lamp. Her serious and imperturbable facade has cracked, and you notice visible concern on her face as she stares into the darkness that lies ahead. Before you can make out Loney anywhere, the people walking behind you push you. Look to the front. For the longest time of your Adurnus pilgrimage, your little group was just a tiny floating island of light amid the darkness. But now you can finally make out other flickering lights in distance. It's a simple light, yet it's enough to give you hope that you won't die in this subterranean darkness. As you approach the source of light, you recognize two men in the dark, strangely patterned roads. Both carried a torch in their hands and jagged staffs that look a lot like pitchforks. Everything is ready, one of them shouts over to you. The man is walking in front of you just wades back without actually replying. You would really like to know what it is exactly that has been prepared, but get the sense that all will be revealed soon. You follow your two captors down a narrow passage that has been carved into the rocks of the cave. Columns decorated with ornaments support the ceiling of the cave. You are now in a winding corridor. You can make your mind up as to whether you think the walls are man-made or not. The walls seem to be shifting and moving dependently on how the light illuminates them. Then you have arrived. Ooh, here we go. We may actually get an ending today. You have arrived at your destination. Your eyes need a moment to adjust to a new environment, which is illuminated by flickering fires. Your group enters a hall in which the ceiling is supported by 4 broad columns. The moment you step through the archway, a lump forms in your throat. There's something in the air that takes your breath away, the smell of death and decay. And bad breath. The origins of the latter is easy to make out. A big mob armed with what else? Torches and pitchforks is waiting to welcome you on the other side of the hall. The blazing fire of the torches gives a tint of hellish nightmare to the whole scene. Only as you walk closer do you realize that in the center of the hall there's an abyss extending into some unknown depths. So far your footsteps were only sound echoing through the place, but now you can make out another sound. Arway murmur of the sea. Calculate your flight opportunity. Calculate your flight opportunities. You know what? If these fuckers are gonna kill me or sacrifice me to eternal gods, I won't go down without being a jackass. You're still surrounded by your captors. The only room in which you find yourself offers you only 3 escape options. First of all, of course, the corridor from which you just come. Without a torch or any other source of light, however, you won't be able to cover the dark route without being impaled by some sharp rock. The Innsmouth mob must have come here via a different path. Behind the gleeful-looking horde facing you, you can make out a black gate. The path looks much less dangerous, but unfortunately, there are a lot of dark figures in the way. Option number 3 gives you a queasy feeling in your stomach. The dark abyss in the middle of the room, which seems to flow directly into the ocean. Keep walking. Try to look out for the others. You search for familiar faces, but you can only make out the monorific grimaces of your kidnappers. Someone jolts you impatiently from the side. You march on towards the mob. It's eerily quiet. Under the watchful eye of the creepy captors, you are being led onto a raised platform. You risk a look down into the abyss to estimate its depths, but you can't see the bottom. Yeah, the crowd cheers and waves their torches. Veda. One of the kidnappers cuts your ties in two and lines you up. Your travel escort blends into the mob. Your instinct tells you that any wrong move could be your last. The 3 of you now face a huge pack of the finest specimens that Innsmouth has to offer. Glances of emotionless, bulging eyes rest on you, and then a monstrous chorus song rising from the swollen gray lips. Eya, Cthulhu Fena. Eya, Cthulhu Fena. After what feels like an eternity, the crowd splits. What the hell now? From its midst, a tall figure in a black robe emerges and... Is it the freaking kid who looks like he's about to snap his neck with one single twitch? From its midst, a tall figure in a black robe emerges and slowly approaches you. The village look at it with awe. Time seems to stand still as the mysterious figure walks towards you. Eya, Cthulhu Fena, the villagers croak. A stocky figure with a receding chain follows closely in the shadow of the mysterious stranger. You have seen many of his kind today. The hooded figure remains silent. Instead, his helper takes the floor. Eya, Cthulhu Fena. It echoes through the hall again. The swollen, milky eyes of the little man wanders over the assembled crowd, whose chatter becomes quieter and quieter with each repetition. Eya. Brothers and sisters, the man begins to say. Dargon will be grateful for your coming in such large numbers today. Today's sacrifice is led by... The robe bearer behind him spreads his arms. Gray. Cthulhu Fena. Collective moan comes from the crowd. The robed figure drops his arms limply. His helper looks at him in disquiet, and limps back into the autonomy of the crowd. The hooded man puts his hands on his hips. Seriously, guys? Seriously? He lets a question linger for a bit. Do you think this attitude is helpful when you're trying to run this show? Do you think I enjoy this? What? Silence. Agree with Gray. Agree with Gray. I'm an asshole. Good moderation is partially dependent on the audience, you pipe up. If no one is interested in the subject, even the best speaker in the world cannot succeed. A hesitant murmur goes through the crowd. Gray turns to you and looks at you, fascinated, as if he just knows you for the first time. That! Thank you! He points at you. Precisely that! He looks over his shoulder towards his congregation. Because if you didn't join in, we might as well all go home. From the corner of your eye, you can see that Kate is staring at you in disbelief. A few people from the mob roll their eyes. The rest let their hands hang in shame. I mean, Kate, what's the best way to get out of here other than trying to get on this guy? get on his good side, and then, when his back's turned because he thinks we're stupid enough to not try something, we kick his ass in the hole and run for it. Sorry, some of them murmur. It's just that everyone goes home. Yeah, here we go. Well, I really wouldn't mind, you add. I have to work on Monday. High Priest Gray folds his hands. Haha, nice try, buddy. But we have a deadline tonight. Deadline. Get it? Embarrassed laughs come from the mom. Sure, you answer in a tone as understanding as you can muster. Thanks, buddy, replies Gray. I love to buy you a beer afterwards, but whoops. He makes an apologetic gesture with his arms. I must sacrifice you. The small... Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, this is ridiculous and I love it. We may be about to die, I'm not sure. The small crisis with the villagers seems to have been dealt with. Ray focuses his attention on your small group again. He reaches between the folds of his robes and produces a golden, decorated dagger. The mob starts chanting in Aya, Aya, Cthulhu Fetanga. Gray's voice now echoes throughout the halls. The stars are in perfect alignment. Today we have 3 outsiders from the Great Harvest. Dragon himself will decide if they will be granted mercy or if their blood will stain the ocean. Your heart begins to pound as you hear these words. So mercy is an option. Maybe there's still hope for you after all. The sacrifice we offer you, O Father Dagon, Mother Hydra. The priest points a dagger at your little group of 3. Who of you wants to be the first to hear Dragon's judgment? Keep silent. You don't make a sound. The expecting looks of the villagers roam over to you, indicates and Loney. For some reason, optimistic expectations of your audience gives way to disappointment. No one? Great X, to be sure. Just keep quiet. Personate Loney. I'll do it. You intimidate Loney over with an overly stupid voice. Here. Afraid the villagers cheer and wave their torches in the high air. Loney laughs. Oh man, you sound like a complete idiot right now. Unfortunately, this diversion didn't go as planned. Absolutely no one fell for your cheap trick. Instead, you just attracted all attention. The locals look on skeptically. I think this is our first volunteer sacrifice, Gray says happily. The priest makes a grand gesture and points to the edge of the abyss. While you position yourself to the assigned place, your stomach gets a little queasy. The dagger is now pointed directly at your face. Pointed weapon is now dangerously close. Please not the face. I'm sorry, our hands are tied behind our back. How the fuck are we gonna grab the dagger? What, are we gonna headbutt the thing and do the sacrifice for them? Please not the face. Please not the face. Anything but the face. In the shadow of the hood, you can make out the high priestess covering his mouth. City folk, don't you worry. That's not what Dragon is after, he says while waving the dagger in front of your face. You have no time to think about what he might have meant by that, for the priest has already lifted his hand and the dagger in it, ready to strike. The high priest makes a grab for your hand. His grip is much stronger than you would have expected from a hypersensitive man named Gray. Determined, he cuts deep into your palm with the decorated dagger. Searing pain spreads along your arm. Has this dagger ever been cleaned? Utter silence in the big hall. The only sound you can hear is the rush of your blood in your own head and your heart pounding loudly in your chest. The high priest grabs your wrist and holds your hand over the present something. Blood drips from the open wound into the all-consuming darkness. The sacrifice we offer you, O Father Dragon. Is there really someone or something down there? Your insides cramp. Maybe that's all it is. Perhaps all they want to do is drip some blood into the abyss. They can have that if they like. Several liters of it. As long as they let you go afterwards. Eya, Cthulhu Fenea. The chorus starts again. The verse gets louder with each repetition. Ea, ea, Cthulhu Fatinga. The sound of the sea seems to be getting louder. Waves start wiping against the walls of the cliffs. No, those weren't waves. Nervously you try to swallow, only now do you notice how dry your mouth has become. Ea, ea, Cthulhu Fatinga. Rumbling, splashing, whatever it is, it's getting louder and it's coming closer. Increasingly worried, you risk a glimpse into the abyss. He knows, Dragon knows. He knows your misdeeds. Not only those of today, your whole life is being judged by him. You can sense it. Dragon knows that you are cold, emotionless scumbag who doesn't care about other people. You have proven that impressively over and over in the past 24 hours. Unworthy, the high priest cries triumphantly. You envy him for his enthusiasm in this dark hour. Fine, you're unworthy. Maybe that's not too bad. Maybe that means you can go now. 1 out of 3. Maybe the others will be luckier. Look over to Kate and Lonely. They stand there, as if rooted in the spot. Kate averts her gaze. You're about to start talking and you feel a sharp pain in your chest. A single fluid motion. High Priest Gray has approached you with his dagger without you even noticing. The precious-looking handle of the sacrificial dagger, glinting in the light of the torches, protrudes from your chest. You try to speak, but there is an awful pressure. You sink to your knees and are amazed. So much blood from such a small wound. Okay. Oh my god. I got an ending. Slashed. Your throat has been slit. Just a scratch. Oh, lovely. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, I think that is where we're gonna end this episode off. We have gotten the first of many endings. Many endings. That was not what I planned on dealing with. But I also didn't plan on the police ambushing me. I didn't plan on dealing with the man in the alley. Things kind of took a left turn very, very quickly, as you can tell. Oh, at least we know where the detective is. She's in the police station, which is interesting. And now, with the knowledge that we have, we may be able to proceed towards well, we can avoid the man. We can avoid the police station temporarily, you know, stuff of that sort. We can do certain things to change the way we do the things we do. I think we can skip past Park and Ride and the Glimmin Hotel and skip right to Town Square next time, and then go from there. Maybe try and avoid the man, avoid the fountain, something of that sort. Do something to avoid that situation from occurring again. But I guess got an ending, which is great. There's a lot of them. Can't wait to get more of them. For right now, I'm gonna end this episode of the Innsmouth Case off here. If you did, think about leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Other than that, be good, be well, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Goodbye.